Welcome back to the Anfield Exchange, and Liverpool have just splashed the cash once more, £82 million on Hugo Ekitike. Now, let me know what you guys think of his signing, because for me, it's a good signing. I like Hugo Ekitike. I'm just a little bit worried of how much we've spent on him, and are we going to be getting value for money? Now, I have had these queries in the past. I remember when Mo Salah signed for the club, I was not best pleased with that signing at the time. Obviously, I was proven wrong over time, and I'm hoping we're going to see something similar in this scenario. For me, I struggle to see where the value is in Ekitike at 82 million. I think everybody's number one signing would have been Alexander Isak. Yes, we would have spent more money to bring him in. I was probably comfortable with Ekitike at around 60, 70 million pounds. Anything above that was probably overpaying, in my opinion. But like I say, we've just got to put the trust in Michael Edwards, in Richard Hughes. We've got the data, we know exactly what we're doing, and this will be a successful signing for Liverpool. What I will say is he is younger than Alexander Isak. He has the room to grow at Liverpool, and that fits the mould of a Liverpool signing a lot more than what the Alexander Isak signing would have done. So I think let's see where we're at in 2, 3, 4 years, and let's see where the player's developed and how much he's developed and what he's doing for Liverpool Football Club then. For me, the reason it's a risk is because he's been on the scene and he's been linked with transfers over and over again for the last few years, but he's just had his breakthrough season at Eintracht Frankfurt. Also, Eintracht Frankfurt have a very good negotiator because they always get good deals for the players, and they always get what they want, basically. So, yeah, time will tell. We'll have to wait and see if he turns out to be a success. I have full trust in Edwards and Hughes that he will be a success, but yeah, just a price tag off puts me a little bit. In terms of a player that we've got, look, I'm not going to lie, I don't watch German football every week, as I'm sure most of you guys don't either. But I have been back and watched the compilations. He looks to me like he's a very good dribbler of a ball. He looks a little clumsy like Darwin Nunez as well. I will say that. Which worries me. I think we've been scolded by the price tag that we paid for Darwin Nunez in the past, although he seems to be killing it in pre-season at the minute. But one thing I have noticed through watching the compilations, Hugo Ekitike seems to be in the right place at the right time. So a lot of the goals that Ekitike scored last year, the tap-ins from the 6-yard box, basically. Now, that doesn't make for a fantastic compilation, but what it does do is it shows you that he can get in those positions at the right times. And when you've got players like Wirtz, you've got Gakpo, you've got Salah, do you know what I mean? You've got so much creativity within the Liverpool ranks. That can only be a good thing. I remember. I'm going to go back to when Man United signed Ruud van Nistelrooy. Ruud van Nistelrooy, on the eye, was not a great player, but he was a great goal scorer because of that reason. He was in the right place at the right time. And if you go back and watch Van Nistelrooy's highlights throughout his career, most of his goals will be tap-ins from inside the box. And I'm hoping we're going to get the same from Ekitike. He is, if we can get that, we have truly signed an out-and-out number 9, because those are the positions you want your striker to be in, and those are the positions that Darwin Nunez just wasn't in throughout his career at Liverpool. You go back and you think of the occasions where balls have been played in and Darwin Nunez just couldn't quite get on the end of them. If he had that attribute, then his numbers would be a lot higher for Liverpool. So yeah, on paper it's a lot of money, but listen, in 5 years' time, if he's banging in the goals for Liverpool, 82 million will seem like a bargain. The same way it did, I remember when we signed Virgil van Dijk, a lot of people said, oh, we've overpaid for him, he's come from Southampton, we shouldn't have paid that much for him. And obviously look at him now. Same with Alisson, a lot of people said that we'd overpaid for Alisson, but those two players went on to be the best players in the world in their positions. So yeah, it's It's daunting right now, but I'm sure in 2, 3, 4 years' time, we'll look back at it and think, yeah, we got ourselves a great deal there. But yeah, that one's confirmed. We've had the here we go from Romano. It's all done and dusted. And the question is, where does that leave Liverpool in terms of Alexander Isak? Like I say, we all know that Isak was Liverpool's number one target. There was a lot of back and forth with Newcastle, and the signal from Newcastle seemed to be that Alexander Isak is not for sale. Now we've got that deal done with Hugo Ekitike. It seems like there's a little bit of movement on there now. So Newcastle's stance has always been Alexander Isak is not for sale. We, as a fan base, we knew the only way we get Isak is if he kicks up a fuss. Now, from the announcement that we were willing to put in a world record bid for Alexander Isak, we didn't really give it enough time for Isak to kick up a fuss with Newcastle, and I believe that is the only way that Liverpool could have got this deal done for Isak. Isak's stance is now, if you're going to believe what you see, his stance has not changed, but has become more vocal. We see reports from his agent coming out where he's done an interview and he says there's going to be an announcement coming up soon. The financials are still around the £120 million mark, which I think would be enough to get Alexander Isak. The question I have is, would Liverpool bring Alexander Isak in after just spending so much money on Hugo Ekitike? I don't believe that they would, but there's still a lot of you on social media and a lot of reports saying that Liverpool could potentially do a deal for both. I can't see how that happens. I can't see how Liverpool would go out and spend that much money on two strikers and only be able to play one of them unless they had a plan to potentially use Ekitike not only as a forward but as a left winger as well, and Liverpool plan on letting Diaz and Nunez go. That will give them the two, including Ekitike, that will give them the two wingers on the left for depth with Ekitike and Gakpo, and it would also give the depth to the number 9 position with Isak and Ekitike. I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't think we'll bring in Isak. I would love to, but I just don't see it happening. It's not the way Liverpool work. We've spent this money on this player to develop him and turn him into probably what Alexander Isak is now. So I don't see why we would bring in Alexander Isak. But look, there's a lot more than just this going on in the transfer window. There's also a lot of reports I'm seeing that Liverpool were interested in Rodrygo if Luis Diaz leaves. What I would say, that would be a costly transfer, and I think that deal could only get done if we get the price tag that we want for Luis Diaz and he leaves to Bayern Munich. What I will say is they're still quite short. They're still quite away in terms of the finances for Luis Diaz. Liverpool want around the £70 million mark. Bayern Munich have offered 58 million. That got rejected. We are expecting Bayern Munich to come in with another bid for Luis Diaz. But yeah, time will tell. We'll have to wait on that. But if Liverpool were to buy Alexander Isak, there is no way we bring in Rodrygo as well, because I do believe that Ekitike would be the left-hand side backup, whereas if we don't bring in Isak, there's a potential we get Rodrygo and he would go over to the left and we'd have him and Gakpo there. But like I say, it would be an astronomical fee for a player that hasn't really had a standout season. He's obviously a good player. He plays for Real Madrid. He tries to play for Real Madrid. He struggles to get into the team. It turns out Alonso doesn't look overly keen with him. But I think one sort of sticking point is he loves Real Madrid, does Rodrygo, and it would take a lot for him to want to leave Real Madrid. Now, could it happen? Of course it could. I just don't see it happening. And like I say, the costings is what worries me. He would demand a big transfer fee. But not only that, I believe he's on about 250k a week at Real Madrid. I don't see Liverpool forking out that on wages for a player on his first contract, because it doesn't leave scope to progress and scope for Liverpool to keep him within their salary sort of remits. The way they did with well, with everybody, with Salah, he got his contract, and then he got a bigger contract based on performances. Even the last contract that he's just signed is an upgrade on what he was on because of what he's been doing on the pitch, and there's not much room, there's not much wiggle room to do that with Rodrygo if you bring him in on 250k a week. So yeah, look, it's going to be interesting. I think if we don't get Isak, I think we potentially do get Rodrygo. But it all depends on the Luis Diaz sale. And like I say, at the minute, Bayern Munich haven't met what Liverpool are asking for. And Liverpool are happy to keep Luis Diaz as well. That's a key element to it. Liverpool will not negotiate on the price. Liverpool will, or of the stance that if you want Luis Diaz, you pay what we want for him. Because we're happy to keep him. We're happy for him to run his contract down and leave in 2 years' time for nothing. Because we value what we'll get out of Luis Diaz a lot more than what we are actually paying him. So he's more valuable to the club that way. In terms of other suitors, obviously there's been rumours that Saudi could come in for Luis Diaz. We've not seen any bids come in yet. Barcelona were also rumoured to be interested. That looks like it's dead in the water now. They've just brought in Marcus Rashford on loan, which is a more affordable option for them, to be fair. And we all know Barcelona have financial difficulties. It seems to be every season. So, yeah, I think if there is a deal to be done, it's going to be to Bayern Munich. I think Diaz has already given the green light to go to Bayern Munich. He's not as sure on the move to Saudi, which, to be fair, most players aren't, if I'm honest. He's not the only one that's going to be out the door though as well. Darwin Nunez on fire in pre-season. My preference would be to use Ekitike as the main striker and have Darwin Nunez as backup. I would really like to keep Darwin Nunez for one more year. I don't think it's going to be possible. I don't think that Liverpool will give him another year. I think the thing with Darwin Nunez is there's a lack of suitors. The deal for Napoli were negotiating and we couldn't get what we wanted for Darwin Nunez from Napoli, which leaves me with the only other solution is Saudi. If he goes to Saudi, we can potentially get the money we're demanding, and obviously it would be a move based on money. Darwin Nunez doesn't want that. It sounds like Darwin Nunez wants to stay in Europe. So it could be an interesting one. We could find ourselves where nobody wants him and we end up keeping Darwin Nunez. But again, time will see on that. There's also been links from Newcastle to Darwin Nunez. I don't think there's going to be much substance in that, if I'm honest. I can't see a world where, especially with everything that's gone on with Ekitike and Alexander Isak, I can't see a world where Newcastle would negotiate with Liverpool for Darwin Nunez and believe that we're going to be paying a fair price, because I don't think that's going to be the case. Obviously, they've told us that Alexander Isak is unavailable and that we're not interested in selling him. I think Liverpool would take a similar stance with Nunez. Not that he's not available, but we want maybe an extra 10 million because it's Newcastle. But again, yeah, time will tell on that one. There's also Fede Chiesa. It's so sad to see. He scored, obviously, in the behind closed doors fixture against Stoke. But it looks like Fede Chiesa's going to be leaving the club, doesn't it? He's been left out of the squad, the tour squad, which it's a shame. He's had it rough at Liverpool. I don't think he's really been given the opportunity. I don't know. Like, the fans love Chiesa. We all love Chiesa. I think every one of us would say, yeah, let's give him another year, get him a pre-season behind him, and get him up to fitness and see what we can get from him. Because at the end of the day, we paid 10 million for him, and he's more than a £10 million player. Now, if he is to leave, then where does he go? My initial thoughts would be that he will go back to Italy. We've seen that there's potential interest from Napoli for him. That hasn't materialised at the minute. So is that interest concrete? We'll have to wait and see. And also there's a case of what would Liverpool be asking for him, because Liverpool would be looking to make a profit on him. I believe they'd be looking for around 20 to 25 million. It's a lot of money for somebody that hasn't played too much football. I'm not sure that Chiesa will 100% leave, but if he doesn't, I also don't believe he'll get much game time at Liverpool as well. So it's probably within his best interest to leave the club. But yeah, it's not what the fans want. The fans want to see him on the pitch. Everybody loves Chiesa. So yeah, again, we'll have to wait and see on that. In terms of other players that are still to leave, we're not seeing much in the sort of around social media. We're not seeing much speculation at the minute, but Harvey Elliott looks like he's going to be one leaving. There were rumours that he could possibly be going to West Ham. I personally think he's too good for West Ham. I don't think that would be a good career move for him. I think he should be looking more at clubs like Aston Villa or somewhere, even Newcastle, somewhere in that sort of area of they're going to be playing European football. What kind of European football, we don't know, but a team that can play European football, and if he can't get that over in England, then potentially go abroad and play somewhere, because I thought it was a shoo-in when obviously we were negotiating Florian Wirtz. I thought he would have been a fantastic signing for Leverkusen, but again, that never materialised. So there's money to come in from Harvey Elliott. We're still waiting on some bids. I'm not sure where that's going to come from, but yeah, I'm confident that Harvey Elliott will get a move. Not that he wants, because he doesn't. He's made it clear that he doesn't want to leave, but he'll get the move that Liverpool want for him. Also, left-back situation as well. We've still got 3 left-backs on the books. We've got, obviously, Milos Kerkez, who I would imagine is going to be our first-team left-back next season. You've got Kostas Tsimikas and Andy Robertson. There was obviously interest in Robertson from Atletico Madrid. That never materialised. He went for other targets instead. I think that was rumoured to be about £5 million. But also Kostas. I mean, I think at the end of last season, you would have looked at it, and I think everybody knew that the deal for Kerkez was going to get done. But everybody just assumed that it would be Kostas that leaves the club. That hasn't happened yet. I know there was some slight interest from Leeds and from Burnley for Kostas. Again, nothing's materialised on that front. There's still plenty of time to get deals done though in the transfer window. So I would imagine one of those players will be leaving the football club as well. But yeah, it's been a massive window so far. Obviously, I'm 38 years old. I haven't seen a transfer window like this before for Liverpool. I think the fact that we're going out and we're spending the money that we're spending, and we're bringing in the calibre of player that we're bringing in as well, I think it's a great time for Liverpool, and we've really got to make the most of this time, because it looks to me like we are going out and we are planning on dominating not only the Premier League, but trying to dominate Europe as well. So yeah, it's a fantastic time. There's still plenty of work to be done. Like I say, we still need a couple of centre-backs, in my opinion. Certainly one centre-back. Is the deal for Gueye going to go ahead? That seems to have quietened down a little bit as well now. So yeah, plenty to keep an eye on. Plenty to get involved in. Let me know in the comments who you think we should be bringing in. Do you think we'll get Isak? Do you think that's done in the water now? Let me know. I'll see you on the next one.